Hi, this is Sean from the Tone Loft, and this video series is going to be on creative guitar. So, what did we just hear there? It was a mix of traditional, normal box pentatonic stuff, which any improvisational guitarist should know. If you don't know that, then you should go and immediately look up every position, inversion, mode, or whatever you want to call it, of the pentatonic scale. You'll be much better off for it, and it will just help your playing immensely. And as a rock guitarist who grew up in the 90s, when I am improvising, that is what is on my mind about 90% of the time. And what I consider it to be my home base. So if I'm off doing some weird thing, like I think one of the licks that I was doing during that last bit was like a sidestepping pentatonic thing where you're just kind of shifting. You're just shifting your pentatonics from basically half steps at a time. But what I did was I started in pentatonic and ended an octave lower in pentatonic as well. So in my mind, I'm not, when I'm doing something like that, not so much thinking about what I'm playing, oddly enough. I'm thinking about where I'm going and how I'm going to get out of this weird thing that I'm playing. So that's one thing to sort of keep in mind. Having a home base, such as your pentatonic box scale, is something that pretty much every guitarist should have, regardless. I mean, if you're playing something that's bebop jazz, where you're shifting chords every 2 beats, then it's going to be a little bit different. You're going to have to switch your home base sometimes once every 2 seconds. But that's a little bit of a different story. This is kind of just on basic general improv. So, so that's that. Sort of another way that you can kind of take your improvisation to the next level as well is to try to really hone in on what it is that you're playing. Play something really simple 100 different ways. So what I'll do is I'll take just 4 notes. We'll take which is just your G, A, C, and D. 5 7 5 7 on the middle 2 strings, and we'll just make something out of it. Let's just do that. Now I'll play that using some bends and some vibrato. Same notes, same general idea, comes off a lot differently. I'll do a bend into a slide using the same thing. I'll start off really quiet and then get really loud. These are things that your brain ultimately will kind of just stay out of farther down the road, and it will just sort of become a part of your playing. And that's sort of when your expression becomes a little bit more transcendent. When you don't have to think about what you're doing, and when you're not really thinking about it, you're just thinking mostly, I am in A minor and I want to play this, and this. That's kind of how my brain works while I'm improvising. Wow, I can't talk tonight. So that's that. And for the guys who know the pentatonic scale and are having a difficult time kicking that, it's not so much a matter of finding new things. It's more a matter of building around it. So, okay, so let's say we're in A minor right now. There are a lot of notes around that scale that you can be adding and making really awesome stuff out of. 2 that I can't get enough of are their 9 and the 13, which is your door in note. So an example of just getting used to that would be running up the scale. But when you get up to the top, instead of playing your pentatonic notes up here at 8, you stick around on 7. So, and immediately you've got something interesting again. That's not quite just your standard normal box pentatonic stuff. So, and you can also add those an octave down, which are these two notes. So now what we have is this with these notes added in. So I'll just play a little ditty, probably screw it up, using that general idea. So there it is. We only added 2 notes. I mean, they were in separate octaves, but that's it. And then, of course, also there's your flat 5. And what becomes interesting is when you add, when you can see the scale as with your 9, 13, and your flat 5 in there. So, in the case of A minor, starting on your 3rd string, that's 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8. So now you have this really interesting composite pentatonic scale. That you can do so much with. That's a really, really brutally useful scale, a form of pentatonic. So, not only that, but you have within that things like your diminished 7 arpeggio. So that gets really interesting. The more you get into that, the more you'll see sort of all the different uses of just adding those 3 notes, your flat 5, your 13, and your 9. You can also do things, something that I really like to do is add this, what becomes a minor 9 arpeggio. Originally I learned it as a major 7 arpeggio shape, but I found that when you start it, so what it is, okay, in A minor, what you have to do is start it 2 frets up from your root. You start it a whole step up. So there's your root. You start it at 7, and you have 7, 8, and then 7, 10. What you do is repeat that at every octave. So you have 7, 8, 7, 10. Second one being 9, 10, 9, 12, and then you have 12, 13, 12, 15. If you can imagine that root note, it sounds really awesome, and it dumps you in a bunch of different places as well. Like for example, when you get to the top, it dumps you in your 5th position pentatonic. Now I'll go back down, and I'm back at my home base. So there are just a couple of ideas on how to take your improvising to the next level. What I'm going to try to do with this and see how it works is I'm going to put a jam track at the end that's in A minor, so that maybe you can take a couple of the ideas that I laid out in this and try to implement them. So something to try might be just literally taking these 4 notes, 5, 7 on your middle 2 strings, and just playing that in a bunch of different ways. Etc., etc. Also, really interesting to try if you've never done it is to try to add that minor 9 arpeggio in there. Again, there's your root at 5. You start this at 7. You have 7, 8, 7, 10, which is B, C, E, G, and you just repeat that at every octave. And then maybe even some sidestepping stuff. That's another really cool thing to try to add, and then mostly just to see how you're gonna get out of it, because it sounds really awesome while you're doing it. But you really have to rehearse it. You really have to know where you're going, where you're gonna land, because when that goes wrong, it goes wrong spectacularly. So again, all that concept is taking something like this and shifting it down maybe a half step. So what I did there was just descending, down a half step, play to descending. And I'm back where I started. So there are a couple of ideas, and I hope you're able to make some progress on top of the jam track. I will talk to you next time.